Hello and welcome to Generation Logistics Season 3. My name is Ed, and in this season, we are going to be myth busting. Today, we are going to be looking at the myth that logistics is a man's world. Now, I'm joined by Lizzie, Georgia, and Hassana. Thank you ever so much for joining me. It's great to have you here. So can we start just by asking who you are and what you do in your day-to-day roles? Let's start with you, Lizzie.
Thank you. So I'm Lizzie. I work at Maersk, and I'm what we call the Growth Enablement Manager for Customs
Love it.
for UK and I, which is a really long way of saying that I'm the person that gets involved when we're talking about customs clearances with sales. So if we've got a new customer and they want to do something customsy, I come along to those meetings.
Awesome, thank you.
My name's Georgia. I work for GXO. I've been there for about 13 months now. I'm a HR apprentice, so I kind of do all like the general kind of HR stuff on site, but I also sort out the engagement and just make sure that the general employee is feeling comfortable.
Fantastic, thank you.
Hi. So my name's Hassana. I've been with ASDA for about 20 years now. I work in the finance department, currently working as an administrator for my depot, but stepping up to be a finance manager for a depot which is like 3 hours away from me. It's in T-Sport, so as a remote role. So I'm currently enjoying that. I've just finished an apprenticeship degree, so this is kind of where I'm sitting at the moment.
Fabulous. It's great to have the three of you with us, and thank you for bringing your expertise to this series. Hassana, we're really happy to have you here. Now, you were a finalist for the Every Woman's Award in 2019. That's absolutely amazing. Can you tell us and the viewers at home a little bit more about that?
Yeah, certainly. That year was actually special for me. So I was put through quite a few programs. So trying to lead up to like leading managing positions. So did like stepping up like little projects, which I had to do some in the warehouse. About the automation, trying to find some money saving initiatives and stuff like that. And also at the back of it, trying to sort of learn my job within the warehouse, how our department managers manage their colleagues and stuff like that. So it was a year of so much going on. At the same time, I started my leadership and management apprenticeship at level 3 as well.
Wow.
So with all those things going on, I think my team were quite pleased and they were impressed, like, you know, being a woman, I've achieved so much. And it was just like an inspiration. They nominated me to those awards, Everyone Awards, and I made it to the finalist stage in that year.
That is incredible, and congratulations. That
Thank
is
you.
really inspiring to hear about, and I know that that will inspire a number of our viewers. So thank you for sharing that with us. Okay, so what drew you to a career within logistics, and how do you navigate what is perceived as a male-dominated industry? Lizzie, can I start with you?
Yeah, of course. So I got really interested in supply chain logistics because I really liked the idea that it was quite black and white and quite formulaic. So you could sort of understand that something physical was moving from one place to another via a certain form of shipment, or whether that's plane, aeroplane, sea, anything like that. I've always quite liked things that are perceived to be quite masculine. So my favourite subjects at school were maths and science. So
Awesome.
carrying that on as a career wasn't really something that worried me too much, but was definitely something that I considered when I started looking at it.
Yeah, really interesting. Thank you. Sana, can I ask you the same question?
Okay, so I actually started off as a payroll clerk, and I just walked into this job. It was a stopgap job for me. I just finished studying. I came out of university and couldn't get a job, so this was my stopgap gap job. And I don't actually perceive this to be like a men's world. For me, I've never ever faced a situation saying, "Oh, it's a man's world." It's an amazing place to work, and I think as time goes on, you just kind of find your way around it.
Mm,
So it's a beautiful place to work with.
fantastic. Love that. And finally, same question to you.
So I was looking kind of around HR apprenticeships and stuff like that. I found that quite a lot of them were actually in London, so I'd end up having to relocate to London. But where I live, there's quite a lot of logistics kind of organisations. So
Mm.
I found that GXO were actually offering an apprenticeship in HR, so I kind of leapt at it and then found myself in.
That's
be a function.
fabulous. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
brilliant. And if you are interested in apprenticeships or want to find out more about working in the logistics sector, you can find more information at generationlogistics.org. Has the term man's world or the male dominated industry ever concerned you when applying into these roles? Lizzie, can I ask you?
I can't say that actually it is something that's ever really concerned me about doing a career. I think I was really focused on doing something that I knew I would enjoy and that I would get a lot of satisfaction out of. And I knew that a career in logistics would be something that would work for me. And
Mm.
so whether that's perceived to be a man's world or not, honestly doesn't really worry me.
Yeah, I love that. And I love the fact that you've gone after what you're passionate about, regardless of any perception there. Hassan, I can see you shaking your head. You obviously agree
I
in this.
absolutely agree with that because when I walked into a job, I didn't look at, oh, it's a man's world or anything. It's just the automation, whatever is in the warehouse that's going on. It just interested me. And I think any person can, so long as you've got that interest there, you will just do that job without even thinking it's a man or a woman doing that job.
I
So,
love that.
Love it.
And obviously, to those at home, would say that follow your
Yeah,
interest. It's not
absolutely.
to do
Yeah.
with gender. I love that. So, there is a perception out there that logistics in general can be male orientated. Why do you think that the logistics sector has this historical sense of being male dominated? Can I start with you, Georgia?
So I think in the past, historically, operationally in logistics, there was a lot of it was very male dominated. But I feel like over the years, it's actually switched. So on the site I work at, we've actually got more women than men on site, which is really
Fabulous.
good.
Yeah, fantastic. And Hazana, same question to you.
Right. So I think there is that perception because I mean I've been with this industry for about 20 years, and if I look back when I started, yes, it's kind of the perception that you're picking boxes out of a warehouse, and it's a hard working laborer's job. So I think that's where the perception probably came through, but I don't see it like that nowadays. I think so long as you've seen the warehouse, you've had a bit of a feel for it, I think there's a lot of women out there who'd be interested in doing things like that. And I certainly see that in our warehouse nowadays because we've got women actually coming into starting at the lower role, leading up, coming up to management and leadership roles. And I've seen that over the 20 years, the change from what it used to be and what it is now. So I don't foresee that it's a men's world anymore.
Fabulous. So it's great to see that that has shifted. And I think it's really important for those people out there to know that this has shifted and those perhaps historical views that a lot of people can have with this has changed. I believe within a number of your companies, there are actually programs that are related specifically to women within the workspace. Lizzie, can you tell us a little bit about yours?
Yeah, definitely. So within Maersk, we have a scheme where the women who are in sort of high level leadership positions can then take on like a mentee who is also sort of a woman, maybe new to Maersk, who's looking at sort of understanding leadership and developing their own skill set. So providing with that sort of formalized mentorship relationship.
That's brilliant. That must be so inspiring as well to have somebody in a senior leadership position giving you that insight into your what a career would look like. Brilliant. And Georgia, I believe that you've got a similar experience at GXO.
Yeah, so at GXO we have something called the Female Development Program. So that's basically where a host of like different kind of women up and down the country on different sites, they're put forward to be part of this female development program where they get a load of different qualifications out of it. They meet a whole new different women, so they're networking with different people. And then as well, they get a qualification at the end of it and a little graduation day, which is really nice to see because quite a few women from my site that I work on, they've been on this and they've really said that it's really good.
That's fabulous. And actually, to get that networking opportunity as well is invaluable. That's brilliant to have across the business. Great to hear about those initiatives going on and progressing logistics forward. It's brilliant. Are there particular roles in this sector that you believe has led to this image of male dominated worlds? Lizzie, can I lean towards you for this one?
Yeah, I think it definitely comes down to the idea that logistics might just be drivers or might just be people picking in a warehouse,
Hmm.
which would lean maybe towards more of a male sector who would be interested in those kind of roles. Doesn't mean there has to be a man that does
Yeah.
them, but that is typically a male person who takes on those roles. But I think there's an understanding now that logistics is actually so much bigger than just those two job sets. You can do so many different things within logistics that is completely outside of that skill set, which means that anyone really can do the job.
Yeah, fabulous. I love that. And what I'm understanding more as we film this series is just how vast the logistics sector is and how much there is involved. If you are interested, particularly in transport, and you want to know more about the transportation sector within logistics, check out our other myth busting series at generationlogistics.org. How do you think the logistics sector has benefited from having more women in it, particularly within leadership roles? Georgia, can I ask you this?
So being in HR, I actually work quite closely with our senior leadership team, and to be honest, in our team, it's actually quite diverse, and I feel like the women on the team they bring a lot of they promote well-being a lot more than our men do on the
Hmm.
team. But I feel like it balances it out, and then it actually brings like a better workplace culture because both women and men see people on the leadership team and they're like, you know what, I could be there one day, that could be me.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Having that representation to follow seems so key. And Hosanna, I can see that you were
Yes,
nodding a lot there.
definitely. And I kind of am the example because I've kind of worked my way from a clerk and I'm going up to the leadership management roles. Um, I think women have got this feeling of empathy and, conflict resolution and stuff. And I think that kind of helps, when you're in those situations, bringing your different thinking, your diverse thinking, to be able to resolve a lot of issues and stuff like that. So that's a different mindset for the situation you're actually going into. So I think that helps. And for me to be able to see that through, it's just brilliant because I'm in that position right now that anyone would love to like come to logistics can just see how things are it's improving. Technology has made a big difference to us. And I usually go down to the meetings in the morning with the warehouse managers and try and like liaise with them and just bring them a different point of view to say, have you looked at it this way or have you
Mm.
thought about it this way? And, that makes a change.
Yeah, that must be very interesting to
Yeah.
have all those different opinions coming in and being able to engage with people at different
Absolutely,
stages of the
yeah.
ladder. Can I just ask, you've mentioned about your development from clerk through to the leadership position you're in now. What was the path for that, and what advice would you give to people who are looking at that?
Um, I definitely think it's interesting. So, I started off as a payroll clerk, and then over the years, we shifted the payroll service to shared services, which then led my interest into finance. So I started with the finance team as a clerk, worked my way through. But at the point I was actually progressing, I did apprenticeship level 3 in leadership and management just to get the skills that I needed to how I could manage my team and lead my way up to a higher position. Once I finished that, then I did a level 7 accountancy and taxation degree
Wow.
apprenticeship thing. So that's kind of now given me the skills, the technical skills, and what I need to be able to do this role. Um, and now I'm actually looking into the higher positions as a manager, trying to sort of, speak to the senior teams, liaise with the executive teams and stuff like that. So that makes it so much easier. So,
That's
yeah.
fabulous to hear, and it's great to see how you've progressed through that business. You've looked at different
Mhm.
certifications that you can get as you move through and evolve your career. Very, very inspiring. Thank you for sharing. What are some of the barriers that you have faced for women in logistics? And if you have faced them, how would you suggest overcoming them? Lizzie, can I start down with you?
Yeah, of course. I can't say that personally I've experienced very many barriers coming into the logistics industry, especially as a woman. I would say that, when you're going into those meetings or those spaces where you might perceive there to be some barriers, having that confidence in yourself and knowing that there's a reason why you're in that room, you've done the work, you understand your field or your sort of knowledge background, so you deserve to be there
Mm.
and you can contribute and you should. I would also say when it comes to sort of overcoming those barriers, having a really strong support network, whether that be like mentors or just sort of friends within your team at work, can be a really great way to sort of building that confidence.
Fabulous. And Georgina, same question to you.
I would actually say as well that I'm quite lucky because I've never come across any issues or challenges with being a woman in logistics. To be honest, if anything, I found that I'm celebrated more being in logistics for being a woman. But at the end of the day, I think we're all equal, both men and women. We're there to do a job, kind of get the job done and make sure that we actually succeed at the end of the day.
Fabulous. I love that. And I love that idea of celebration for diversity in the workplace, pushing that forward. And ultimately, I guess it's about skills and not about gender. So, Lizzie, you mentioned a little bit about role models and finding the right mentors. Can I ask which role models or mentors have supported you along the way? And how important is mentorship within your sector? Can I start down here?
Yeah, certainly. Mentorship's absolutely important. I mean, especially with the journey I've had, to be able to go through with it, and be able to go and speak to someone, it's absolutely amazing. So I've had a couple of people in my life. I've got some women in leadership positions, a shift manager in our warehouse. My manager, who's a finance manager as well, they both have played a really good role. And I say that because the lady who works in the warehouse as a shift manager, she's brilliant at like solving stock issues and stuff like that. So she brings in a personality, which kind of like made me think, oh, I could take things off her, which has helped me to be able to actually go back. And if I'm in a situation and I can't, I find that someone's being a bit aggressive or something, I just have 5 minutes to think of what she's told me and deal with it. So bringing that confidence, that resilience in you, be able to actually say something back against to people and say, well, no, I know what I'm talking about, and it's fine.
That's brilliant. So you've almost seen somebody else's resilience and modeled on that. And then you've got confidence in yourself to go forward
Yeah.
and say, you know what, actually, I know what I'm talking about. And so I'm going to emulate that into the workplace. I love that. You're nodding along. You seem to have an opinion on this as well.
Um, I think coming from an apprenticeship, having a mentor is really important because it's not only are they there to help you with your development, but they're also a bit like a soundboard. So for me, I actually have most of the leadership team on the site that I work on. So I would say that my manager, site manager, ops manager, and the planning manager, even the finance manager, they all kind of support me in different ways. So they help with different things, whether it be I'm struggling with like an IT issue, or if it may be like an Excel issue, or even just like an employee related issue, I can go to my manager or the site manager.
That's fabulous. And what I'm hearing here is that you're leaning on different people for different strengths. So
Yeah.
having that breadth of mentorship seems really important.
Yeah, 100%. I think it just kind of gives you different people you can talk to as well. It's also growing your network of people that you can actually go to and ask for advice from, which I think is always important.
I love that. Finding a network of people is fantastic. Lizzie, I'm going to ask you the same thing.
Yeah, definitely. I've been also really fortunate to have really great mentors and role models throughout my career within logistics. I think even if you're not having that sort of one-to-one interaction with them, having women within senior leadership roles really gives you something to aspire to and really makes you believe like maybe that could be me one day.
Yeah, that's fabulous. I love this. There seems to be a general theme running through here that seeing somebody in those leadership positions who can inspire you and actually make you want to get there yourself seems absolutely fantastic. Do you believe that there have been specific shifts which have led more women to join the field? And do you think that this trend is going to continue? Sana, let's start with you.
Yeah, I think that trend will continue. And there's a reason why this is kind of happening. I think in the past people weren't aware of these jobs, and there weren't any role models who would like encourage you to say, "Oh, why can't I be like that person?" But I think over the years, especially at my depot, we've been holding open days and stuff. So basically, family and friends can come over, have a look, and get inspired with what
Fabulous.
we're doing in the warehouse. And what our depot is one of the depots in a massive park, a logistics park. So the actual logistics park owners, they actually do like fun days themselves or open days where women from our depot have actually gone there to have talks to like students, people come out of college and stuff like that, which is actually, opened up this idea to think, oh, I could probably come and work out there. It's quite nice. We've had like a group. Coach full of people from schools coming over to say, oh, this is interesting. And that's
Yeah.
kind of led all this to actually say, I think it's quite interesting. People will come and work for depots. I think it'll be good.
Yeah, the logistics sector is fascinating and it's so diverse, and it's great to hear about those open days. So, if you want to find out more about open days or careers within logistics, make sure that you're checking out generationlogistics.org. So, a bit of a general one here. How do you think companies can do a better job of promoting gender diversity within logistics? Can I ask your opinions on this?
I think one way that companies could do this is to kind of show the diversity within their organization. So sometimes you get like adverts on TV or something, or you'll see like a job advert, and you'll have like promotional pictures on there. I think getting pictures of women saying doing a picking and packing job, or a woman driving, or a male working in HR, because I find in HR I don't really see men working in there. It's very rare, and I want to see more of that, and I'd like to see more women in the operation and doing a man's job.
Yes, that's really interesting as well, because obviously the focus today has been about it being a man's world, but part of that will be deconstructing those areas which perhaps are seen as predominantly women led. So that's a really interesting one. Great answer. Lizzie, do you have any views on this?
Yeah, definitely. I think the organisations should actually really steer into the problem with diversity and actually really like report and demonstrate actually how well they're doing with their diversity, and make it really clear as to what the actions they're undertaking are to make their organisation much more diverse, and then what they're doing to encourage women into their workplaces.
I love that, because from the sounds of things here, logistics has made a huge step forward in terms of diversity and gender equality. And really, companies should be shouting a little bit more about that. I love that. Can I ask what kind of recruitment strategies, workplace cultures, what sort of things would make logistics a more inclusive workspace? I'll open that one to the floor.
So about sort of getting people interested and into logistics, I think what I found really good when I was looking at different jobs was going to careers events and sort of actually meeting people that work at companies. So I think it's really important that companies think about who's attending those events and who's representing them. You should always have a woman in those sort of careers events, and should always, be there to sort of answer questions about logistics, hopefully more than one woman.
Yes.
And so, they can actually show to students that it isn't just a man's environment.
That's great. A really easy way of changing your recruitment process. Sorry, you were about to say something there.
I do think that is really important, because I found that when I was leaving school, going to college and looking at universities and stuff, when it was, say, a logistics organisational company would be there, it'd just be two men. And you'd be like, oh, I don't really want to go over, because, like, what am I going to talk about? What am I going to say? Like, not that you get a bit nervous, but you're like, oh, I'm not really going to go there, because you just feel like, yeah.
It can feel a bit daunting sometimes,
Yeah.
can't it? And I suppose having that different gender diversity, cultural diversity, whatever it is, can make a huge difference to how people perceive going over on an open day. Sort of leads into my next question. For young women considering a career in logistics, what do you think are the most exciting opportunities right now that they could be interested in? I'll open that one to the floor.
I think how quickly logistics is actually growing. Even though I've been at GXO for 13 months, I found that GXO is growing quicker than I expected it to. I'm sure for the other companies that you guys work in, it's just a really good organisation to work in, because you're like, oh, there's all these different opportunities that I could do. I could go and say, if I wanted to try something different, I can do it. And all these things that they're offering, it's just get involved and just do it.
Yeah, it sounds really exciting. I can see the passion on your face there. It's brilliant. It looked like you were going to say something as well.
And just to top it off up, definitely I agree with that, because there is not just one job you'd be stuck to. You could do so many different roles in the in the warehouse. You can move up, go to the exec team. But one of the things that's actually leading is technology, and I think technology is coming into such a place. I mean, I know certainly in my warehouse, we've got automation that's making it easier for picking purposes and stuff like that. And there's people who actually want a career, do maybe the engineering side of it or managing that side of it. But it's become so much interesting, and I think I mean, especially if the new starters come to our depot, they'll one of the things they just, oh my God, you've got robots and stuff like that, and that's
Yes.
so amazing.
It's always incredible. I've heard the word robots several times
Yeah.
in these interviews, and
Yeah.
this sounds so exciting. If you do want to see our episode on AI specifically and myth busting that AI is taking jobs, do make sure to check that out at generationlogistics.org. Brilliant. It's really exciting to hear the diversity that's coming through there. Lizzie, what would you say to young women who are considering a career in logistics, and what opportunities are there for them right now?
I'd say apply.
Yeah, brilliant. Great start.
But for opportunities, I'd say get out, have a look. There's so many different roles in so many different areas. So do a bit of research. Think about what it is that you enjoy, and so what you'd want out of a career and what would work for you. And then, yeah, get involved. Look online, do some research, reach out to people.
Yeah, I love that. Can I ask personally, for your career, how did you find your way into logistics and get to where you are now?
Yeah, I really liked the idea of moving things and things being quite practical.
Hmm.
And so when I was looking at doing a placement year, so in between my degree at university, I wanted something that would also be quite practical, and saw a placement in supply chain. I didn't really know what that was,
Yeah.
but when I sort of read into the details, I could see that actually that was going to be quite a practical degree.
Final question to everybody. What's the best piece of advice that you would give to a young woman thinking about entering into the logistics sector? Let's start here.
I'd say just go for it. Like, what is the worst that's going to happen? What are you going to lose? If anything, you're going to gain something out of it, and you're going to open so many new doors.
Love that. Love that. Lizzie?
Yeah, I'd definitely say just get stuck in, find out what you enjoy, and pursue a career after that.
Fabulous.
I'd say the same as well. I just think you just jump it at that chance, come in, have a look, and there's so much you can do out there. And if you don't like it, what's the worst that's going to happen? You also say no. I'm going to go. Bye.
Absolutely, yeah. And one thing I've learned from interviewing the three of you, and thank you so much for all of your experience and expertise there. I feel like I've learned so much. The industry is so diverse. There are lots of opportunities, and we can see it here just on this sofa, the different opportunities available. Of course, if you want to check out the different opportunities that are available, you can find it at generationlogistics.org. Well, thank you ever so much for the three of you joining us. It's been a brilliant episode. So today we have busted that myth that this is a man's world when it comes to logistics. My name's Ed. Thank you ever so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon.